Greetings, fellow Gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
And I'm Count Jackula.
And today we're talking about Coming Home in the Dark, which is a new horror film or a new horror thriller from New Zealand that came out last year, but we missed and didn't get a chance to watch until now, and so now we're watching it, or now we've watched it, and we're gonna vlog it.
Screen Rant.
Did this, top 10 highest rated horror movies
according to their Rotten Tomatoes ratings
of 2021. And I was going through the list, and I had seen and vlogged almost every movie on the list except for one, and that was this movie, which was also the highest rated. So
yeah, that was definitely one of those how did we forget to see this movie?
Yeah, especially since it's available on Netflix and has been for a while. So we just missed it.
Yeah, it's not like, oh yeah, it's somewhere on Hulu. It's we're always on Netflix. How did we not see this?
So I'm going to issue a big warning here because much like the movie For the Sake of Vicious that we vlogged a little while ago, this movie deals with a history of physical and sexual abuse on children. I'm not going to get into too much of a detail now as to how that pertains to the story, because that's a bit of a spoiler, and we'll talk more about it with the spoilers. But just know, going into this movie, that there is discussions of and graphic
depictions?
Not even depictions. It's not really depicted so much as talked about.
Yeah.
Just
descriptions.
Graphic descriptions. Yeah. Descriptions of physical and sexual abuse on children. And the reason why I say physical and sexual is because not all of it's sexual. You get what I mean?
Yeah. Also, if you don't want to see dead children in a movie, you want to skip
that is another factor. There's just straight up dead kids in this.
Yeah.
Murdered in full view of the camera.
Yeah,
so
cold blood.
Yeah. So this movie's plot revolves around a family that is basically held at gunpoint by these two mysterious men for reasons that we'll talk about in the spoiler section, because you don't know why at first.
Yeah.
At first, it just seems like they were randomly picked because they happen to both be backpacking in the same fucking area.
And the answer is only kind of.
Only kind of. When we get to the spoiler section, we'll talk about the whys and stuff, because this actually does have twists and turns and spoilers.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those movies where your loyalties to the characters shift as more information is revealed, and you start to see characters in different lights.
Yeah.
But anyway, this family is held at gunpoint by these two men, and there's a point in which they end up in a car driving home. Now, what we mean by home, we'll talk about when we get to the spoiler section, because that's also a spoiler. And a lot of the driving happens in the dark, hence the title, Coming Home in the Dark. This movie is a very intense and dark thriller. It gets really horrifying, so I'm comfortable calling it a horror movie, but the way the plot is structured is very much a thriller-style plot.
Yeah. There's no supernatural involved.
None whatsoever.
This is purely the horror of man's inhumanity to man.
Yep. And some things I really like about this movie is this movie does a really good job of making the family just feel like a normal-ass goddamn family at the very beginning.
Yeah.
So that when, the graphic violence is depicted upon them, it makes it even more of a stark contrast.
Yes.
And I also like that the fucking guy who plays, the head of the two men.
Oh, yeah.
He's such a good actor.
He's great, yeah.
That guy, he's one of those, he's playing a cold-blooded, vicious fucking killer of a person, but he's so captivating. I don't know if charming's the right word, but there's just something about him that's magnetic.
Yeah, he's got that quality that Billy Zane had in Dead Calm.
Yeah.
Where you're just sort of I am fascinated with this guy.
And in fact, his performance alone is why I understand why it had such a high rating on Rotten Tomatoes, because his performance is it deserves Oscars, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's really good. Because he manages to do that thing where you, at no point do you like this character.
No.
But you can't stop watching.
No, it's magnetic. You know, it's fucking magnetic. The performance is amazing. And it's also one of those movies where you're going to find yourself going okay, what would I do in this scenario? And then the characters will or won't do what you would do, and that'll either be like frustrating because you're like, no, don't do that, you idiot, or that'll be like, well, I don't know what else he would do. Like, you know.
Yeah. There's some situations where the captives surprise you with what they do.
Because it's got this kind of cat and mouse aspect between the captives and the two men.
Yeah, but like the single biggest failure is being able to act in the moment.
Oh yeah,
when it counts the most.
There's many moments where the characters are far too stunned or horrified by what just transpired to seize the moment the way they should.
Yeah,
it's very natural. It's like it feels very, very natural, but you are sitting there going like, no, come on, like grab the gun now.
Yeah, do this now.
you know.
But a lot of it comes down to the two guys are killers and no one else is.
Yeah, and it also kind of like feeds into something that's an aspect of the movie because there's this aspect of trauma that's like seeped into the theming of this movie. Like I can't get too into it without getting into the spoilers, but like
there's a slight exploration of the difference between a psychopath and a sociopath.
Yeah, 100%. But there's also like this element of like he is deliberately trying to traumatize them.
Yes,
and it's working.
Oh, it's working.
It's
real good.
100% working. Like it's like he is trying to break them and bring them to their lowest point and like leave a lasting scar.
Yeah.
And that becomes very clear as the movie goes on that he is trying to do this.
Yeah, and it's that might be a spoiler. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get to that soon.
Yeah.
We'll get to that soon because it's going to be really hard to talk about this without talking about the spoilers.
Yeah, because this is a movie where a lot goes down the last 5 minutes.
Yeah. But needless to say, this movie 100% deserves its Rotten Tomatoes score. It is one of the best horror movies that came out last year. If I had known of the movie and watched it, it probably would have ended up on my little top 10 little thing I did on Letterboxd.
Oh yeah.
But I hadn't watched it at the time, so it didn't end up on there. But
yeah,
it's that good.
It's almost up there with like Antlers.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely. Really good.
And that says a lot because we're guys that tend to gravitate towards like horror movies that have more like supernatural elements as opposed to like the more like thriller types. But this is a really good one. This is a really good one.
This is one of the best I've seen.
Absolutely.
Because it never gets I don't know how to put it. It doesn't do stupid crap.
No. The characters might do something that like I wouldn't do. But like I get why they're doing it.
Yeah. But there's never this moment where you feel like you just did that for the plot.
True. There's never any of that.
Which even I feel like Silence of the Lambs does that.
Oh yeah.
It's sort of like this only happens because that makes the plot go forward.
There was a really great thriller that came out last year as well called Till Death. With Megan Fox, and it's like the whole plot is that
I didn't see that one. Yeah,
she wakes up chained to her dead husband.
Yeah,
and then like a thriller plot kind of carries out from that point forward. And that movie was really good. Like it was like 9 out of 10, like a really good thriller. But even that movie had moments where it's just like that's just there for the plot. Like
yeah. That's just a plot conceit.
Exactly.
Yeah, this movie doesn't have that.
No, and it makes it feel so raw and real.
Yeah,
like you feel like you're in the fucking like car with these people, being held hostage with them.
It reminds me a lot. The way it builds tension and the way it plays out reminded me a lot of, that Steven Spielberg movie, the one he did before Jaws.
Duel?
Yeah, it reminded me of Duel.
I was thinking the same thing when we were watching it. There's an aspect of it that feels like Duel, but like if the person in the truck, they were in the same truck.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
It doesn't reach like the insanity. It doesn't reach the insanity of the Hitcher.
No,
but
the Hitcher's another one.
Yeah,
but like it's even more down to earth than either of those two movies, and it has like a very kind of bleak, melancholy ending.
Yeah.
That we'll get more into when we get to the spoilers, because this movie's intense. Coming Home in the Dark. It is a New Zealand movie. It is currently available on Netflix. I don't believe it's actually a Netflix movie so much as it's just on there right now. So you can probably rent it on other platforms. And I recommend you do so, because if you don't have Netflix, find whatever way you can to watch it, because it is
absolutely
phenomenal. It is great. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, let us move on to the spoilers.
Okay, so as I said in the first section, part of what's going on in this movie is the examination between the psychopath and the sociopath.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes the most popular separation of the definitions right now, which is the psychopath appears to be born that way, whereas the sociopath is molded that way by society somehow.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so you've got the main villain is the psychopath. He doesn't give a fuck.
No.
He has no empathy for anybody.
None whatsoever.
Yeah.
None whatsoever.
But the sociopath is his like, what looks like his lackey in the beginning, who is this very silent, doesn't talk a lot, like, I think in New Zealand it's Aboriginal.
Aboriginal, yeah.
Yeah, like Aboriginal guy. And, very much the kind of like Chief in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. He doesn't say a lot.
No. I think he says like 2 things the entire movie.
Yeah.
And there's like
and then one of them's the last line of the movie.
Yeah. The rest of the movie, he's just completely dead silent.
Yeah, yeah, but there are a lot.
But he's one of those actors that's like doing a lot with his eyes.
Oh yeah, he's doing a lot, and one of the things was really interesting about that character is you don't put it together until you see all of his actions.
Yeah,
but you're watching a person who has been turned into a killer who would really rather not be.
Yeah, 100%.
That's it. It's weird because you find out at the end, the story is really about that guy.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, so the thing that's really hard to not talk about, because it's such a spoiler as you reveal in this movie, is that these guys did not pick this family at random. They picked this family because the dad used to work like years ago at this one correctional school for boys, where they put boys that were either troubled or homeless or otherwise like had issues, and they would put them in this school, and then the school would try to correct them. And so at this school, there was rampant abuse of these kids. Like they describe at one point like this, like one of the kids apparently had like drawn like a swastika on his arm, and so instead of like just punishing the kid by like giving him like detention or some shit like that, they'd make him scrub it off with like a fucking like razor sharp wire.
Yeah, with a wire brush.
Like scrub it off. So literally scrubbing the skin off.
Yeah.
And there's also descriptions of like some of the teachers were known for sexually assaulting the young boys.
Yep.
And the father, he worked at the school as a teacher for a period of time and looked the other way at all these offenses.
It's a little unclear whether he was like a teacher or an administrator, but he's one of them.
Basically, the idea is that like he was there, he didn't participate in those things. It makes it very clear that he didn't.
Yeah.
But he didn't do anything either about it.
Yeah, he didn't do anything about it either, and in fact thought that it's probably what should happen.
Yeah. So this is one of those stories about like, okay, how culpable are you if you're not the person doing the wrong thing, but you are the person who stood by and let it happen?
Yeah.
Like this movie kind of like meditates on that discussion in a very gruesome way.
Yeah.
So this whole thing is basically a revenge plot on this guy, and you get the impression this isn't the first time they've done it either.
Yeah.
That they've probably done it to other administrators at that school.
Yeah, they've probably done this shit before. But like something's a little different this time.
Yeah.
And that thing is that the sociopath is starting to notice that the innocent are suffering. Mm-hmm. Like they're killing innocents.
Because this whole thing is a revenge plot against people for looking the other way at harm that was being done to children. Yeah. That's their whole motivation, right? But one of the first things they do when they seize this family, is literally shoot their kids in cold blood. Well, one of them does, the leader guy.
Yeah.
The other one doesn't. The other one's actually
because they only got one gun between them. Yeah.
The other one gets upset at this and it buries the bodies and all that stuff. Well, dumps the bodies in the lake and then throws rocks on them, basically. But like gets rid of the bodies. But it's obvious that this upsets him.
Yeah.
Later on in the movie, there's a point in which one of the characters, the father, ends up running away and running across these group of kids that are just doing donuts in a parking lot.
Yeah.
And tries to get them to like drive him away and get away before the guys with guns show up. With a gun, because it's New Zealand, so guns are technically not supposed to be around. So the fact that these guys have a gun is a big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Yeah.
They end up like convincing the kids that the guy in the car with them is an abuser and that they'd be better off. And would you want anything wrong to happen to you? Anything bad to happen to you? Would you want anything wrong to happen to you? Anything bad to happen to you?
Would you want anything wrong to happen to you? Anything bad to happen to you?
Or you could just give us the guy and walk away. So the kids give up the guy, and then he kills all the kids.
Yeah.
So that's like maybe like 6-7 kids that are now dead in this vengeance quest against someone who allowed bad things to happen to kids.
Yeah.
And that ends up culminating in the end of the movie when there's the final confrontation, because basically coming home ends up meaning they're going back to the school where this all started. They're driving to the school. That's their ultimate destination. It's home because it's where they were all born into the persons that they are now. The father, you know, he looked way back then and he kind of like grew to be a better person who doesn't do that now. But like he had to go through the experience of looking away first.
Yeah.
Before he could learn to not do that and to not approve of shit like that. The two guys became fucking murderers and like fucking like these cruel people because of the abuse they suffered at this school.
Yeah.
So they were kind of born there and all that stuff. And at this point in the movie, the kids are dead and the wife has basically said fuck it and jumped into a lake and most likely died.
Yeah, most likely drowned.
To get out of the situation. So it's just them and the guy, the father at this point. And up until this point, we've been watching as the sidekick guy. We've been watching him have these moments of like silence, like staring at the bodies of the kids and then staring at the other bodies of the kids. And we're not quite sure what's going on in his head. Like his performance is saying a lot, but we're not quite sure what it means yet. Until we get to the end of the movie and there's a final confrontation between the psycho guy and the father, and they basically beaten themselves fucking down. Like we're talking like they're bleeding, they're fucking brute or whatever. And the guy comes over, picks up the gun, and shoots the psychopath guy.
Yeah.
Puts him down. And up until this point in the movie, there's been this footage of this kid that's been writing this sign on like the memorial, like the statue of like the founder of the school, saying, I hate this place. And the entire time we've been wondering as a viewer whether the kid writing that, the kid who obviously is the kid who was the ass end of some of the abuses that were described earlier. And we've been wondering which of these guys it was. Was it the psychopath guy who's leading them, or is it the quiet guy who's his sidekick? And this is where we reveal that it's the quiet guy who's the sidekick, because he shoots the other guy dead and just goes, I hate this place.
I hate this place.
And walks away, leaving the other guy, and then goes and watches the sunset.
Yeah. And
which turns out was the first shot of the movie, but we didn't recognize that's what it was because we didn't know there was a guy sitting there.
Yeah. There's a guy sitting there in the first shot. You're like, what? But so the movie, it's a cycle.
Yeah,
it's a cycle. That's what the movie's
and
saying.
The movie even like brings up things like Frankenstein, like the who's the monster, the creator of the monster or the monster they created. And, and that's very much what's going on here. Much like another movie we watched recently, Slapface. There's very much a trauma, and trauma and abuse begets abuse, and like these two people became who they were because of the abuses they suffered. And at the very end of the movie, he ends the cycle of abuse by killing the other guy, because how many kids are now going to die in their quest? Like, don't they deserve the same fate that they're now instilling?
Upon this guy? Point, so it's that point, like you got the guy who's pretty much been made into a killer, just deciding, nah, fuck it, I'm going to end this right here.
It's a very important point because he never killed anyone on this movie.
Yeah. And in fact, he avoids it, but you don't realize that he's been avoiding it this whole time.
Well, yeah, there was even that point where you're like, oh, that gun must be empty because he dropped the gun when he chased the person down instead of using it. So it's like, oh, the gun's empty. There's no bullets in it. And you just realize, no, it's just unlike the other guy. He doesn't want to kill
this person.
Yeah. He wants to traumatize them the way he was traumatized. He doesn't want to kill them.
Yeah.
The other guy doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah. Yep.
He's a little bit more eye for an eye, and the other guy's just like, let's take the whole damn body.
Yeah, whatever. Who cares?
And the other bodies next door, like the collateral damage, who cares about them?
Yep.
Even though, if you go by the backstory, the kids were all collateral damage of the school. So, are they any better now?
Yeah, which is clearly what that guy is wrestling with, and in the end, he's just like, no, fuck it, I'm just gonna end it.
This is like if someone made a thriller out of like The Road. It's got that kind of vibe, that kind of tone.
Yeah.
That kind of like meditation on violence.
Yeah, and it does come down to like them going like, this is how the attempt to correct violent behavior ends up creating violent behavior.
Exactly. All these troubled, violent kids, we must correct them, and instead we turn them into monsters.
Yep.
And now they are enacting their monstrousness on us, turning us into monsters, and the cycle continues.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bad shit.
Yep. This week was a series of happy stories.
Yeah.
happy joy.
Well, yeah, I'll tell you one thing. I'm getting really fucking mad at people who are like, well, rather than drive away in my car, I'm gonna leave the car like the guy with the gun told me to.
Oh, yeah.
What the fuck? No, drive away.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's like, you could walk away. Whatever. Well, that guy in there's a killer. There's 4 of us. Okay, he's not gonna get us all. I'm out here. We're doing.
Exactly. So, any last thoughts on this movie? Or
it's really good.
Yeah, it's really good. I highly recommend it. Again, it deserves that Rotten Tomatoes score.
Yeah.
It is a phenomenal film, and you should all seek it out and check it out for yourself. Now, granted, if you're the kind of person, because I'm going to issue the warning again, who cannot handle the subject matter, then do not subject yourself to it. Don't bother. It's rough. Trust me. If you're the kind of person who can handle it, go for it. This movie is great. And with that said, where can they find you, Count Jackula?
Oh, you can find me here on YouTube on Planet Dracula. You could probably also just like put in that little search bar, Count Jackula, and I'll probably be there. And I'm streaming right now on YouTube. So you want to check around 7 p.m. and 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you want to know absolutely when I'm on, then you should follow me on Twitter, Counting Jack, where I always will put up when I'm streaming. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, that's Satanic Jackula. So you got 3 ways of hooking up.
Hell yeah.
I would appreciate you doing as many of those as you're comfortable with.
And everyone likes 3 ways.
Yeah, everyone likes 3 ways. So, menage our count.
Even Peacemaker likes 3 ways. I saw that scene.
Yeah. How about you?
Y'all know me. I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me at the Horror Guru on Twitter, on Twitch, on Instagram, and Facebook. Just look up the Horror Guru or Blood Splattered Cinema, and I'll be there. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And if you'd like to help out either of us more directly, then be sure to check out our Patreon pages. And remember, if you decide to go the Patreon route, even $1 a month can go a long way.
I got a hashtag for this one. Hashtag I hate it here.
Yeah, hashtag I hate it here or hashtag I hate this place.
I hate this place. Hashtag I hate
either one. Use either one. Comment below using that hashtag. That way I know. That way Jack knows. That way the whole world knows you watch this vlog all the way through. I'm going to be interested in see whose team hashtag I hate this place.
And which one is hashtag I hate it here.
Yeah. We'll see. There's going to be a little fucking war underneath in the comment section between the 2 teams. And with that said, my fellow Gorehounds, peace out, and I'll catch y'all later.
That's right. Fight. Fight for the pleasure of your overlords.